I need mine too, like I need yours. So rejuvenating, musing, mating, grooving through the ropes on the coast, when maneuver making, choosing, raking through on a cruise to the innermost. See the host making toast with a hostess with the focus and ferocious stuff to share. Get it all. The notion of a potion, lotion, rub it on and need some right there. Only love.
Welcome back to coverage of UKU Masters Nationals here at Glastonbury Tournament. Bringing you action in this game between United and Fever. Got United in the whites and Fever wearing the, I'd say the blues, wearing the mostly blues at any rate.
Man, you receive any compliment about your shoes? What? People tell me, man, good shoes, good shoes. Yeah, same one, man. They're the best. But you know, I put it like with like navy blue shorts and a green t-shirt. Yeah. And I have a bag.
United are going to start on defense, putting the disc to their opponent. And we are underway in this game here at UKU Masters Nationals, and that pull from United is certainly less than ideal to end up. Oh, an awful lot closer to the pitch behind us than the actual pitch, which is not the greatest pull ever, it has to be said, but a little bit of rust early on. Yeah, but now I've got the delay again. I can hear the delay again. They're going to bring the disc in at the sideline. Looking downfield. Trying to find an option. Not really seeing anything. Find a dump. Still on the sideline, looking to see if they can find an option to get it off. And take the swing. Defenders a step slow. Looking for the IO backhand into the centre of the pitch. Oh, well caught under tight coverage. And going to squeeze it through to the handler. Running through from behind the disc. Not a big window there to aim into, but it was slotted in there perfectly. Really tight coverage from that defender, just an iota of a second too slow, and sometimes that's all it needs to be. And so Fever march down the disc off a slightly disappointing pull, and they're going to open this game with a comfortable hold on a 1-0 lead. So United with their first low point, trying to get the disc moving quickly. Nice little run through that. Looking around, just going to take the dump option off. Nice underneath. Squeezing it up the line. There's a continuation, right on the spot, and United made that look really easy, and you can see why they were one of the teams that were representing the UK out at the World Masters Club Championships over in Winnipeg, Canada, just a month or so ago. So they're going to tie things up at 1 apiece. Benjamin Rees here with you in a rather wet Glastonbury, deep in the heart of Somerset in the southwest of England for UKU Masters Nationals. It is certainly not ideal ultimate conditions. The rain's coming down heavier than it was this morning. It's United with the disc. Going to ball once more after putting in their first low point. No turnovers yet so far this game. So good start offensively to this game for both sides. It's a nice pull as well. Going to hem them in towards the back of the end zone. Gonna get out in one pass. Shoot deep. Oh, just receiver wasn't really looking for it. Miscommunication there, and that's going to give United a chance to break off the game's first turnover. Initiating cut comes underneath from the centre. Nice. Inside out there, going to continue it towards the end zone. Oh, just too far in the end. Had the receiver open in space, but difficult when you're cutting towards one of the sidelines to get the weighting of the pass accurate. Because you're very conscious about putting it too far out in front, but also you're aware that you can't put it too far behind as well. So Fever get the disc back. Force coming around trying to stop that. Swing, they do manage to get it off there. There's a continuation wide open. Oh, that's going to go too far. Went for the backhand towards the forehand side and really overcooked it in the end. On the side, they're going to try an expansive blade all the way to the front corner of the end zone, right to the far front corner as well. That's a pretty creative throw. Exactly the sort of thing you love to see from the Masters division, really. Just picked a spot, really zinged it in there, and it was exactly where it needed to be. Was able to make the catch inbounds and in the front of the end zone as well. With that big roll curving flick. And so we have the game's first break. United drawing first blood to take a 2-1 lead. So 2-1 to United, the current scoreline. Going to get ready to pull. We'll see Fever try and get back on the board. Big swing around the back to start. Not a lot going on downfield though, and I think there's a foul call in the stack. All seems to be resolved though. Takes the swing, and that's going to be a has in the signal for a violation. Didn't see what the violation would be. This is going to go back though. Still in Fever's possession. Looking downfield for an option. Oh, bobbled, but well caught at a second attempt. Shows the hammer, doesn't use it though. Nothing going on, has to shoot it deep on a high stall. It's a nicely weighted blade, winning a height matchup, and his defenders converge on the first shot. It leaves someone wide open in the end zone for a follow-up, and Fever now do tie things back up again at 2-2. Not the cleanest point. Quite a few stoppages. They got themselves into a high stall situation, but did the right thing rather than just take the stall out, give their receivers a chance to make the play, and then struck quickly afterwards. There's the delays back.
Yeah, I know the delay's back. I'm just going to turn it down for you. This should be... Yeah, it's fine now. Okay, sorry. So the second you put headphones out, you get little diva commentator bastards.
Ball goes up from Fever. It's going to go out of this near sideline, and so United will bring it in from the brick mark. There's quite a lot of damp faces walking around the pitches at the moment. They're going to take an instant deep shot. The defender's going to try and peel off and help, but it's not going to get there. That's a perfectly weighted shot. Excellently timed and executed deep cut. Going straight deep as well, giving the thrower the largest possible space to aim at. That's exactly how you do it. And just simple route one ultimate there, but when it works, it's so effective. Defenders left in the dust. And United retake the lead at 3-2. So, (3-2) to United, the current score. Ball from United is going to be comfortably caught by Fever. Back on the way. Oh, just a run through D on the first pass. Receiver slowed up a little bit and defender attacking it at full speed after chasing down the pull. This is why it's really important to get down the other end, because you can get those run through Ds and they strike with the first pass, squeezing it down that far sideline. See the handler come up the line, squeezes it there. The defender's a step too far behind to make the play. He knows that he can't get there, or at least he can't get there without making too much contact. So he just pulls up, and that means that United get another break, and they've opened up a 2-point lead, the first 2-point lead of the game now, at 4-2. So things very cold and wet here at Glastonbury at the moment. And certainly not the best frisbee weather you could hope for, but obviously, especially in the Masters division, these players are more than used to dealing with these conditions. And actually, sometimes it plays into your favour, because sitting there speaking to a few of the teams last night, they were looking to, especially as they feed into the rest of the tournament tomorrow, play some zone, play some strategies to just slow the pace, take the legs out of it a bit. And when the conditions are wet, it's not windy yet so far, but you keep making your opponent to make as many throws as possible. I feel like eventually this is going to cause turns. Oh, that's a really tough catch on that blade. It knifed really quickly and did a very good job sliding towards the ground. Not afraid to get his knees dirty, and then there's a big collision there. Just focusing on looking at the disc and wasn't aware of who was around, and he just clattered his own teammate. Unfortunate. Going to take a swing. Oh, it's going to pop up and greedily scooped up by the United defenders, and they've got a chance to extend their lead even further. Finding the poached option on the far side. Moving the disc quickly between these open players while the defence isn't properly set yet. Just running the gauntlet down that far sideline. Wonder if they take an expansive throw to finish this off, or whether they just try and get back into a calm rhythm. Right at the front centre of the end zone. This is exactly where you want it. And they're happy to sacrifice a bit of field position to keep the disc moving. Oh, nice little leading Aya backhand. Just thinking about popping it in and just going to squeeze it in that front cone. Fever defenders just can't cover that space from the on-rushing United cutters. As he gets the discount nice and early into space, punching with one hand, and the defender just gets on his heels a little bit, waiting for the other cuts to fully clear out before he goes into that space, and that split second was all the receiver needed to attack that front cone. So United now at 5-2. Beginning to take control in this game now.
And the headphones on Dante, yeah, say exactly the same thing. So it's not, those should be good. I've dragged in, as inputs, I've dragged in, not local microphone, I've got new tech NDI in there. But I'm not hearing anything.
So there's a bit of a chill in the air here as well, as which does often come when you have rain like this. And that means that it can be a little bit difficult to try and keep yourself warm. When you're on the pitch, it's not so bad because you're running around all the time, but on the sideline, you've really got to keep yourself involved both physically and mentally. Otherwise, it's very easy to come into this game cold and not play your best. Not a lot developing downfield for Fever, it has to be said, and the throw's low, just going to skip off the receiver's hands. This is excellent field position for United. Oh, there's a cutter wide open, and they're going to take it with the first pass. Defender puts his hands in his head, signals a mea culpa on that one, and United really in the driving seat now at 6-2. Just steps out nice and wide. Puts that flick out into space. Nice. Easy end zone offense there from United. Must be said, they're looking very good early on in this tournament. Although, as you say, it is definitely early on. Both in the day and in the game. Just 20 minutes on the clock so far. Ball goes to the centre of the end zone. Moving it quickly. Sideline calls. They've spotted that United changing their defence here, going with a zone. It's a very loose three-man cup at the front. And then trying to just clog those space downfield, stop any continuations going. Oh, he's going to try and shoot it over the top. Oh, that's an excellent job. Receiver leaks down the far sideline, got behind the defence, and other cutters drew those deeps in field, and that allowed the throw to go over the top. See here on the replay, just a miscommunication. One of the defenders passes it off, maybe thinks the throw's not going to go, maybe not entirely sure where his teammate is, and stuck a hand in the air, see if they could intercept it or just tip it enough so the receiver wouldn't get a play on it, but couldn't get his fingertips to it. And after giving up 4 on the bounce, Fever get back on the board. 6-3 the current scoreline to United.
Yeah, of course, yeah, on the little pad. Yeah. That's cool. I'll definitely check that. Oh, so another question that came up when I...
Rain's been pretty solid all day, and
Yeah, okay.
just going to grab a look at the extended forecast as well. It's a nice underneath for United. Taking the swing. Sent into the middle. Defender slips over, and that's going to allow that swing to go pretty much uncontested. Now back into the centre. Doing a very good job of moving these forces around, opening up space for a break. Shooting towards the front of the end zone. Cool as you like. Nice work from United, doing a really good job of moving the disc around, spacing well, and reopening their 4-point lead there at 7-3. And it just brings me no great pleasure whatsoever to report that it's going to be raining for pretty much most of the day. And even if it theoretically might clear up a little bit in the afternoon, but even in this, chances of raining are still about 50-50 at the worst, or at the best, depending on which way you look at it, which is not ideal. It's about 11 degrees out here, so not cold, but a little bit balmy. Enough for you to make sure that you're warm all the time. We're just going to have a little timeout here now as well.
It's perfect. I've had them. They were all on 0-0. They were whites. They were sort of blank names, times. I'm sure that's good. Alright. Cool. Plenty. Alright, sweet. Yeah, nice one. We're going to figure that stuff.
You can see now just the disparity in the size of rosters that these teams have bought this weekend. Fever, a veritable skeleton squad at the moment compared to the vast numbers of United players. They might outnumber them by 2-1. It wouldn't surprise me.
Hey, if I unplug these headphones from this camera now and plug them back in, it's not going to fuck up my Dante or anything, is it? That's great. Oh, on your little PC.
So United have their cheer and break their huddle. See, one of the advantages of having so many people is that there's always going to be someone else on the sideline with you. You can talk to, interact with, help keep each other a little bit warm and engaged.
It's pissing down with rain. I wouldn't want to ruin your nice headsets. No, we're getting a tiny bit of visual stuff coming through on the two channels. So I'm back and over on the mixer. I can't really hear it. Soloed it. Turned it off and soloed it.
It's very, very wet here at Glastonbury, and I know I do keep bringing it up, but it is. I mean, you've seen it been a factor already with players slipping over and just slipping out of hands. But as the day goes on, you get the feeling that it's only going to get worse as these players get a little bit colder. The ground gets even wetter underfoot.
I've really boosted the game all the way up. Fuck. Yeah, trying to boost nothing. Okay. We have got one game off before the final, so we'll bring the camera down there and try and figure that.
So Paul, is that from Fever? And they're just taking half-time slightly early. Oh, that throw is going to go off the United hands and going to give Fever a break chance to begin this second stanza. See him wiping the disc, bring it in from the sideline. Looking for a deep shot straight away. 3 defenders there, and 2 of them combine.
Yeah, what are you getting in your ears, mate? Oh, no, I'm going to sort out Benji's ears. I'm going to sort out your ears first.
It's not going to give the Fever receiver a shot at it at all, and United earn their disc back. And that was their turn to shoot deep. And that one is really well knocked out of bounds. Got 2 full hands and just palmed it away. Still prefer to see him make the catch. Sacrificed a few yards in knocking it out of the path, but did its intended target. It means that United receivers can't make the catch, so FIFA get their turn back once more. Both sides looking deep early in this second half and haven't been able to get it to work just yet. Faking around. Only option available is a swing. Gonna shoot deep, big backhand. Roll curving over everyone, ripped out of the air by the United defender. And now they're gonna shoot deep and just go over the head into the pans of his awaiting cutter, and United do hold to start this second half at 8-3. That was a bit of a dicey point, some expansive throws from both sides, looking to open things up a little bit here in this second period. And I like that they're trying to put a bit of spice into things, even though it didn't necessarily quite work as well as they wanted on occasion. Nice offense to that point from FIFA, closing the deficit down to 8-4. Paul Alvarez is going to go out of bounds, and so United doing the sensible thing and taking the disc at the brick mark. Come out in a horizontal set to begin with. Nothing opening up downfield. Turns around. Isolates a dump. Just going to wipe his hands. Throws a little bit low. Disc well caught. Slides to the ground to make the catch. Now centered. Going to shoot deep. Oh, that's just going to get the wrong edge on it, and just the eye is going to take it out of this sideline pretty much directly above that front cone. So they won't get great field position with it, but FIFA will get the disc. Immediately going to get it off the line by swinging into the centre of the pitch. Give himself more space to work with. Deep cut goes. Disc is in the air. Oh. Receiver slipped over in the grass. That's another thing that's going to happen in this wet weather. And just going out this sideline was intercepted. I think just again, just players slipping over a little bit of collision there. Everyone seems to be okay, which is great to see. Just saying that, yeah, did not affect that at all. So will be FIFA's disc from the sideline. And that's going to be a violation, I think. Players moving a little bit too early, but good use of hand signals there from everyone on the pitch, which is nice to see. Makes our job a little bit easier. Obviously, the job was the job of all the players knowing what's going on, which is the main thing. Oh, that throw is just too far behind. It's going to be harmlessly slapped to the ground. United trying to come out in a different set this time, going vertical. Nice underneath cut to initiate things. Takes the dump. And again, just swinging it back around. Constantly trying to change the angles, reverse the flow of traffic. This is nice offense at the moment. And they're gaining yards on it as well because they're timing these continuations nicely. And there's the shot right into the front corner of the end zone. On the money for United. Sending their lead to 9-4. United getting ready to pull. Very much in control of this game. It would take something special from FIFA to come back from this, you feel. But they have had their moments of brilliance. Paul caught with two hands above the heads, sent it into the middle of the pitch. There's an option on this, right on this sideline. Again, another receiver slipping over downfield, so they have to shoot it deep. Oh, defender gets a hand on it. Stayed in the bare for a little bit afterwards, but not quite long enough for the receiver to adjust and make the catch. There's the underneath cut. Big fake gets the defender on the ground. There's a wide open underneath in the centre. It's going to quick dish off to the handler running through. Oh, run through D. Just the throw not quite quick enough, and it allowed the defender to put on that turn of speed and get the block. This is in now for FIFA. Moving it around the back. Going to try and shoot it sidearm. Oh, it was a little bit underthrown. It bladed, but it was well plucked out with one hand. Now dished off towards the sideline. Tries to squeeze it in there. Inbounds, not quite in the end zone just yet. Going to take the reset. Still looking around for an option. He's going to put the hammer up towards the far side. Oh, huge D. He's going to knock it away. Out of the far sideline onto the cricket square. Nice D there from United. Disc is checked in. Maybe thinking about the deep shot immediately. Instead just has to take the swing into the middle. No, they're taking the short passes, just grinding the disc up the field. An option, the deep shot's going to go this time. It's got a little bit of float on it. Oh, it's perfectly weighted. Exactly the right amount of float on that flick, and United get the break. The first break of the second half, I make it by my reckoning as well. Opening up a 10-4 lead. Receiver had steps, and even so it can be really difficult when you get that roll curve, that outside in trajectory on the disc to get the right weighting on the throw, but the execution was pure perfection. And making the catch comfortably in the end zone as well. No need for any subsequent passes there. United's dominance in this game extends a little bit further. So 10-4 the current score to United over their opponents, Fever. Here, covering the pool stages of UKU Masters Nationals at the Glastonbury tournament. Backhand blades, it's caught. Getting quite a few yards on that swing towards the middle. United again, just doing something a little bit different now defensively. Nice hammer over the top. Nice zing little through towards the far sideline. Good job of finding and then bisecting the space. Gonna take the reset off. This near sideline transition goes. Cool to move into single coverage. Oh, just overthrown too high and picked off. Now looking for options downfield. Just takes a reset. Now on this near side. Plenty of steps there downfield. Thinks about squeezing it down the line. Decides against it. It's just going to take the reset instead. Wise option there. Swinging it around the back. Going to try and shoot that towards the end zone. That's a perfect flick. Just excellent form on that. Stepping out. It's getting a nice bit of feather on it. It's a beautiful throw, both in terms of form and in execution. Let's see if he reels it in with two hands. And like I said, both sides traded to begin this second half. United have really found their feet once more, and they're beginning to roll their opponents over now. 11-4 the current score. So United just getting their signal and they're ready to pull. Inside out backhand goes towards the back of the end zone. Fielded in advance quickly. Fever looking no mood to give up the Callahan. Single coverage on defense from United. Try and pin the disc on this near side. Up the line cut comes the roll curve. Oh, led them into a difficult position. Two defenders converged on it. Ah, the receiver got a hand on it, but it just bounces out. Maybe that's one of those things where on a day where the weather's dry and the disc isn't quite as wet and slippery, maybe your hands are a bit warmer as well, that would stick in there. But today is not one of those days, unfortunately, and it just bounces out of his palm. Teammates on the sideline preaching to be patient with the disc. Going to try and wait one towards the end zone. Again, just perfectly weighted on these shots there. Getting them out early, not giving them so the defenders can't get there and put a force on. But rather than just lasering through, they're putting a lot of touch on these discs, a lot of revolution, a lot of torque, so they're just sitting nicely in front of their receivers, making them really comfortable to catch. And as we saw on the Fever turnover, when you put a lot of heat on things, it can be really difficult for them to reel in these conditions. So just taking a little bit off the disc in terms of speed makes these catches easier, and that's a skill that United have executed really well in this game.
What are you guys commentating on here?
Hmm?
What are you guys commentating on? These games? Just this one, the Masters one. Is it being broadcasted somewhere? Where?
YouTube. Sideline shouting for the pull to come back in. It might just do that. Oh, I think it lands just out of bounds. You can see the signals there with his hands about just how close that came to landing in. It was nearly an excellent pull, as it is not quite that. And so FIFA will brick the disc. Finds an option coming through the centre of the pitch. Beckons his cutters into the space he wants to see them. Just takes the swing in the meantime. Hammer over the top is too high. Picked out quite a tall target, but even he was not able to reach that. He's brought on the far sideline. Looks to be a 3-4 horizontal set, trying to isolate these two cutters towards that far sideline, keep these cutters on this near side out of the play for the moment. Takes the reset off. Oh, just a simple drop. Cold, wet hands, thinking about the quick pickup. Instead, going to jog over, give a chance to get a proper end zone offense set up. Cut comes to the front cone, and it's just fumbled. Thought it was going to be a certain score, but it just couldn't stick in his hands. And unfortunately for United, one bad turn deserves another. Going to swing the disc, much more safe hands this time. Continuing it towards this sideline. Takes the up the line shot, inbounds. I'm going to get the disc off the sideline. Looks for a swing. It's a roll curve it around the defender. And they find an option underneath in the centre. This is looking nice, this offensive possession. Going to squeeze it in towards the front cone, and he's going to make the catch. And that's going to bring an end to this game. Fever had really nice patches of play and nice possessions, and they made some big plays at points as well, but in the end, just couldn't do it consistently enough. And United were much the better side in the end, and it's proved to be the case in the scoreline reflecting that. 13-4, the final score. Tiny bit of a shellacking, in all honesty. But that's going to bring United confidence going into the rest of the games today, and you have to say that based on what we've seen, they might well be one of, if not the favourites to take home the UKU Masters crown this weekend. We'll see what the other sides have to say about that, of course. But for the moment, that's just going to bring an end to the game. Join us shortly in about 10-15 minutes or so for coverage of the next game live from UKU Masters Nationals here at the Glastonbury tournament. In the meantime, I've been Benjamin Reese, and the final score in this pool game is United 13, Fever 4.